Hi everyone, it's Eddie here at Eddie Makes Art, and I got a brand new stencil design to show you today. And this one is called Hookups, and as you can see, they're hooks and they're going up. But anyway, I wanted to show you my new stencil and just have a little play with it on the gel plate. Today I've got my big boy out. This is my 12 by 14 gel plate, and this is a 9 by 12 of the design, and I believe they're going to be they are available in the other two sizes, which are the 5 by 7 and the 8 by 10. So although the link to the stencil will be in the description box of this video. So let's just play around. And the other thing I decided to do while I'm at it is I am becoming a collector of like nearly empty tubes of paint, so it's getting kind of annoying. And these are the paints that like they get ignored and they get pushed back and all that. So I don't know. Let me see. I'll show you a bunch of these. I pulled out a bunch. I may not use all of them, but so you know, very minimal paint in a lot of these. I've got two whites that are like, I mean, hello, why? And then I have this one. I've got this orange one. I've got this red one. So you know, I got to use them up. Let's do it. I got my scissors ready to cut these tubes open. I've got a palette knife to get in there and scrape out all the goodness. But what I also did was made some altered paints. And these are basically they're jars of paint, pots of paint, whatever you want to call them, that pretty much got to the very, very bottom, and I started adding what's called airbrush medium, and this is it extends the color to a water-like viscosity, and you get these really cool effects depending on how much you add to your paint. So this helps extend the amount of paint, the you know, the pigment and all that. It does not extend the drying time. This is not a what some companies call retarder, other companies called extenders. That's not what this is. And then, but I did want some of the paints. I think I added to all of these to have a longer drying time, you know, in order for me to play around. And so I did add some of this stuff. This is the Blick Artist Acrylic Retarder, slow drying time of acrylic paints, and they give you a kind of formula. Actually, they don't on this one. I apologize. If you go online, you Google, you know, how much extender should I add to my paint? Usually, it's like a 4 parts of paint to 1 part of the extender. Play around with it, you know, see what works best for you. All that good stuff. So I got some of the couple of different shades of blue that are in here. One's even metallic. This one had some of this icy blue. I added some other blue extender and also the airbrush medium. And of course, this is not nickel hazel yellow anymore, but you see, I marked my bottles with an A for altered. So this was a cadmium yellow. I had very little of a not Lucas Krill, I apologize, Liquitex. This also has some of the two mediums in here, the extender and the liquid or the airbrush medium. But I think I need more airbrush medium in that. It's looking a little thick. I'm actually going to first spray a little bit of water. This is just a mister with water. Get a little bit there, and then to help me get this in there, I unscrew the cap and I use a pipette, and then kind of, so I'm able to control how much I put in and not make a mess everywhere. So that's what I did with some of these paints, with all of these that are on here. And so it makes it more fun. You use up all the paint instead of wasting by throwing out a tube, you know, that has a little bit in it. Cut the sucker open, get all that goodness out of there. Shake that up well. So, and this is mostly quinacridone nickel. This is actually, no, I apologize. This is transparent red iron oxide. And it's got but it's an open version because I have a separate pot of that. So I added it to this jar when it became empty, and then I added airbrush medium, I extended some water. Now this one I had my Liquitex bottle of Prism Purple, and there was very little. So, and then there was like, it wasn't really coming out. And then after I cut it open, I found a really big chunk of dried up paint in there. So that was keeping it from really coming out. So got rid of all that, added the paint in here with some extender and some airbrush medium. So I don't know, we'll play around with them. This one was I think it was lime green in here. Did I put maybe olive? I don't know, but it's got all kinds of goodies in it. We're gonna play around, make some printies. Why not? Make things fun. Okay, so let's do let's get this on the gel plate and get some color going through the stencil. So there will be some drying time during this process, so I'll just pause the camera and then come back and not make you wait for everything to dry. All right, so what shall we start with? What do I have here? Let's bust out this Prism Purple. Let's see how it turned out. Are you shy? Not as liquidy as I thought I made it, so that's okay. Get a little bit of that. Maybe some of this blue. This has some metallic in it as well. All right, and let's get this through here. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're new to my stencils, these are from PM Artist Studio, and they're made from Yupo, which is a polypropylene product. So essentially, it's a plastic, very durable, and they're great for gel printing. And if you've ever, if you're not sure what that means, check out my playlist for long hauls, and you'll see some of the ways the stencil benefits when you're layering paint and, you know, taking it off and putting it back on and all that good stuff. Look at that, love that. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. I'll be back, and then we'll add another layer to that. Well, I forgot, I got other plates I can use. So while that one's drying, it's almost dry, I'm gonna go ahead and just, I grabbed this one. I was doing some stuff on this the other day, and I didn't clean it up because it's got some good stuff on the edges and some good stuff there on the surface. So let's do some more. So for this one, let's get you down first. Let's see, what colors do I have that I might want to use here? Okay, let's see what colors I have. I've got this quinacridone magenta. Yeah, and then when it's getting towards the end, these scraper thingies, just push it down, get out some paint here. Let's do a little bit of that. Maybe some of this yellow here. It's still not as thinned out as I want it, so I'm gonna thin it out a little bit more. Just water. I just want it to be a little more flowy. Okay, let's see here. smaller brayer. Some yellow, yeah, see that's a little thinner there. It better, flows better. A little too much there, it's okay. I'm trying to make sure I get into all of the nooks and crannies there. And it looks like we are covered. Now at this point, I could start taking prints off of here and, you know, doing like sort of a long haul-ish sort of technique. But I'm not gonna do that today. I'm just gonna take my time, make some fun prints and show off my new stencil. That was a lot of that paint, Eddie. Silly goose. But don't worry, I'm gonna gussy up this brayer off and use it for something else later, right? Let me get this stencil up off of here. Okay, nice. Get some little color variation. Now this stencil still has a lot of paint on it. So I'm gonna show you something. Just gotta be careful when you do this. This is a hammer mill color copy paper. And I'm gonna lay my, oh, well, I already did. I don't wanna do that, but I'm gonna lay this down. Now, this is a brand new stencil. This should take no longer than like 5 seconds. Cleaning off the stencil onto the paper. Now, if I had left it longer, it's such a new stencil, the paper would have stuck. So just, it's all about timing. So cool, we got a little bonus print here. Maybe I can come into some of these edges I missed and fill in the gaps. And sometimes these are where I get some, like, I get some cool prints doing stuff like this, because then I build upon it. And then, you know, add more details, and they're great foundations for awesome prints. And this is what I mean when I say the stencil gives back, that's what I mean. So there's paint coming off that stencil from the last pull, or the last print, which is some of that purpley business there. So I'm filling in some of these gaps here. You see? That stencil's giving back. And that's a good thing, because you get some really cool effects. You get some nice grunge going. So now there are people who are purists. They will wash their stencil after each use. Nothing wrong with that. Other folks let it build up. Other folks will also, you know, get to a certain point, especially with the smaller designs, that you're not going to get that nice detail anymore. So you can soak it in a solution of water and Murphy's oil soap. You can also use Dawn detergent, let those soak in there, and the paint will come right off. It takes a little bit, but the paint comes off, and that way you don't have to worry about scrubbing it, because this is not a material you want to scrub. This will peel into layers and it will ruin your stencils, and I've done that, so just be aware. Now, I do have a video on how I wash my stencils. It's a quick, fun video, and I will, I'll link that below in the description box for you. All right, let's see how those other prints are doing. Yes, this one's dry. Now, what should we do with this one? I could come back in with another stencil, we can add another layer, but I think I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to think of a color to pull this with. Now I have this acrylic gouache, gold deep, and then I've got this other gold here. Maybe I combine it on the, we'll mix it up on the plate, and then we can just pull the print with that. Let me do that. So this is getting really super low, so I'm going to grab my big old scissors, cut this open like that, and then get my little knife here and scoop this out directly right on the plate. I think there was some paint on there. Oh yeah, from the thing. That's okay. So don't be afraid to cut open those paint tubes you think are empty, because there's still a lot of paint in there. Right, so got that there. That is pretty much done. I don't think I'm gonna get really anything else out of there. Okay, and then this is a deep gold acrylic gouache from Turner, which is it's a brand from Jerry's Artorama. So it's very similar colors. They're just slightly different in their paint structure, because the gouache tends to be more have a matte and opaque finish, whereas the Amsterdam is going to be lean more on the transparent side with this particular gold, but it's sort of like a semi-transparent, let's say. All right, so this would be helpful, right? I'm trying to think of like, okay, so what do I do next? I'm like in my own head today about just all sorts of stuff, so don't mind me. Let's get this brayered out nicely. Let's see if you find like blotchy or like chunky, not chunky bits, but like sections of paint that haven't rolled out as well as you'd want it, just give it a little swirl. Give it a little swirl, and I'm gonna work a little faster because this gouache can dry fast, and it's already drying. I can feel it. So let me get some paper down. Okay. Tissue here. Today I'm using regular tissue paper because I am almost out of my carnival tissue. So I have to use that accordingly. Plus, I found this big stack of the regular tissue, so I'm like, just use it, why not? I didn't think I had any more, and then, you know, you start cleaning and organizing, and boom, you find it. Again, if you're new to my channel, this is a wooden baron, and what I use it for, it's nice and smooth on the bottom, I use it to smooth out my print onto the plate, make sure everything has a nice contact. These are made by Anthony Cody, a small business out in the west coast of our country here in the US. I will link him as well. I believe he's already linked in the description box. He has an Etsy shop, and he makes wonderful things with reclaimed wood, just found wood. Also wood that people send him or, you know, give him, because they know he's a great craftsman and he makes amazing things. He doesn't just make wooden barons, he also does bowls, clocks, other stuff. So yeah, when you're done with the video, go over and check out Anthony and tell him Eddie sent ya. All right, so this is gonna need a few, I'm gonna let that completely dry on there. I wanna make sure I get a nice clean pull. So that's gonna dry, I'll be back when it's dry. Now, I wasn't gonna do a second layer on this as far as like another design, but I'm just gonna use the same design, but I'm gonna flip it. So we get the opposite design. Bang, bang, boom, right? And then I'm gonna use the green. Just remember, this is like a lime green that I did with, mixed up with the airbrush medium and a little bit of the paint extender. Get a little bit in here. And this layer doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to get that contrasting movement from reversing the design. I have to be careful because this is loosey-goosey and I'm getting it all over me. Because Got a little gunkum there. All right. Gently lift that off. So that'll be a really cool, I think, effect with, moving the stencil the opposite way to get a contrasting design. That has to dry. Let me see if I can clean off some of this onto some paper. Let's try this one. It's already got the green on it. Come on. Now this paint is a little looser, a little wetter, so we should be okay as far as getting this paper up. And we already have a couple layers of paint on the stencil, so we should be all right. Now, if this doesn't work and the paper sticks, I'm blaming you. I'm just kidding. So now be careful. When you're doing this, be gentle. Don't yank and pull at your stencil. There are delicate spots there that can rip your stencil apart, you know? But look at that. How cool is that? That's what I mean when I say the stencil gives back, and it gives you these really cool grungy effects and fun patterns. So love that. All right, to the side you go. Now the other one, the very first one, should be dry. Shall we check it out? I'm gonna just go over the edges. I like to do that in case we encounter any issues with the edge sticking down. Sometimes that does happen because the edges are gonna dry faster. All right, and then get in here a little bit. Let's see. Nice clean pull. Now I would say this was down on the plate drying 10 minutes. So a lot of times you guys ask me how long did you leave a print, so I have to I'm trying to be more mindful of timing things out for you so that you get a better idea of how long to leave things on the plate for. When in doubt, always feel the back of the paper that's down on the plate. If it's still cool to the touch, let it sit for a little while longer. But as you do these more and more and more, you'll get a better feel for when something is done and ready to go and pull it out of the oven. I really like this, how this turned out. That is snazzy. Snazzy, snazzy. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's do something else here. So what I want to do now is I want to put paint down first on the plate, pull paint through the stencil. So I'm going to leave the positive part, which is the stencil part, right, onto the plate, and then we'll go from there. So what paint do I have that I want to do that with? What color do I have out here? I have Prussian blue. Let's try that. I'm going to do some Prussian blue. This is one of those almost empty ones. So let's see if I can squeeze this out without having to tear it open. I'm gonna have to cut you open, bad boy. There's a lot less in there than I thought. No problem. And then I have this, what's that hair in there? Cat hair. I have this white reflexive paint. It was called Fluorescent Reflex White by Lucas Krill Studio. And I like to mix it in with paints like that are not metallic or shimmery or anything like that. And it gives it a little bit of shimmer. And it gives it a little more interest than just the straight up color that it is. So I'm going to clean this off as best as I can. Now this, I'm going to add a little bit of paint extender because this particular paint, this blue, which I just got all over my desk, dries quickly. So if I can move a little faster, get some extender down, mix this up. Let's get some of this paint off my hands. Put a little extender on here. I like to put the extender on top of the paint, not the actual plate, because the extender can leave marks. And like you get these like weird blotchy areas on your prints, your gel plate, whatever. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. This is reflexive white, number 4601. It's a transparent paint. So add a little more than I think I need because it's going under the stencil. So I just want to make sure I have enough. And you see, it really doesn't lighten it up much. It adds more of a, like I said, it gives it a little bit more life than the straight out of the tube color. I'm gonna take a little bit of my airbrush medium. Let's put a little bit of that in there. Just a little bit, don't need that much. Mix this up in here, and then I'm gonna clean this off and then brayer it out. Go, let's use the big one. And you see it's got this really neat quality, the shimmer and the airbrush medium make this a much more interesting color. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put the paint side down since that's already covered. I'm gonna get some of my paper here, just a plain white paper. Put it right down over my design. And then I need my tissue here, but I'm gonna get a fresh piece of tissue. And since I added the extender, I don't have to rush here. You should have plenty of time. And let's get that paint through the stencil, because what I want to be left behind is the positive. I think that's what it is. Get this tissue up. I don't want to soak this tissue too much because it is the regular tissue, and when you soak it too much, it can rip. So let's see. Not the best. I think we can get another one now. Better. A couple spots there. I think with this tissue, I can pick up the rest. Still a couple of spots that don't want to come out. Come on, Eddie, get in there. All right, that's good enough. So what I want to do is I want to get this off here. Now that's going to dry, but I'm glad I made sure I had enough paint because now I got a nice outline there, and then I need to clean this up. Give me a moment. Ooh, look at that. Very, very cool. You have to dry. And then I have, oh, I've got to clean my brayer off. That's still mucho paint on there. You know what I'm gonna do is I have another plate here. Just have stuff on it. It does. Just clean that off on there. And then, there we go. Don't worry about that later. And that's what's good about having multiple plates too, is extra paint I have, I'll put it on another plate and then create another print with that later on. All right, this still has some paint on it. Let's see if I can get it up with this tissue here. Very nice, very nice. That worked well. Now, cool. Look how cool that is looking. Just all the different kind of colors, grungy colors in there. I'm running out of room. Here we go. All right, you go there. You go there. I need this plate here because it should be dry and ready for a final layer, unless let's add some blue. I'm gonna add some of this shimmery blue I mixed up. And I think I need to shift it like this. Maybe kind of offset it a little bit. I'm gonna use some of this. This is that altered mix of blues and different stuff. Some of that and some of this too. This has it's more shimmery. Eek. All right, come on. There we are. Just looking for my brayer. Now I have to keep an eye on the time because I'm supposed to be helping moderate a live stream in a little bit. Plenty of time. Oh yeah, this is little, I'm like, what is that? That's a little pieces from the jar of paint. All right, let me get a hold of these fingers here before I start getting paint on everything. Usually I don't worry too much, but the paint is like I have extender in a lot of it, so it's taken a while to dry, so I gotta get it off. So what do we have here? I love it. All right, so once that's dry, we can add a final layer and pull that beauty print. Beautiful print. Now, da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's get this onto, yeah, that's dry. Let's see if I can get any color off of that. Snazzy. I love it. Let me see if I can get some more up on these whiter edges. Very nice. That'll be a fun print to play with later. Those are the types of prints that, like I said, I can build up, add more layers. I can do stamping on with my foam stamps. I can add a layer of clear texture gesso to it and come in and create a whole new look with colored pencils, or just enhance what's there. All kinds of fun stuff you can do. All right, so let me hang you there for just a moment, because we have to check on that blue paint that's probably not dry yet. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so while that is, you know, continuing to cure, I see a couple spots that might need a little bit more dry time. Let's talk about what color do I want to use on the next layer. And I think the next layer should be the last layer. I don't think I'm going to get anything more interesting. Just going to become a big block of color. What if we could do an ombre. I could use some of this here. This is light blue permanent. I could do some of this. Let's see if I did some of this orange. Let me think about the orange, but we could do this here. The quinacridone magenta. And what else do I have here? Like I said, I'm only using these paints that I'm running out of, because I gotta use it up. Should we maybe do this purple, this prism purple? I need to thin it out more though. It's still a little too thick for what I want. And if I get it too thin, it may not work as for the ombre, but let's just play around and see what happens. It's just paint, it's just paper. Just having fun. And hopefully along the way, learn something. This might work. Okay. Now for this one, this guy needs to get opened because there is like almost nothing left in there. And I have my scraper here. Open. So yeah, definitely gotta cut it. So I think I'm gonna do blue at the top, the quinacridone magenta in the middle, and that prism purple mix at the bottom. There's a good amount in there, and it's good to get at it there. Okay, we got that done. Let me just clean this. I don't want to get this in the quinacridone magenta. I think I can get enough without having to open it. Okay, that's good. And then this mix here. All right. And for practical purposes, I need to move some of this stuff out of my way, because I'm running out of space here. here. This should be very nice. Very nice ombre. For this, I'm gonna use my big paper. Use some of this Yasutomo sketch paper. So I want to get every little bit of that print on here. Nice and smooth. I'm gonna let that dry completely and come back with the reveal. All right, this should be plenty dry. It is probably been sitting drying for about 30 minutes. So, and let's see here. Okay, got a little bit there that didn't want to come up, but that's okay. Ooh. I love it. Well, it could have dried longer, but I'm impatient and I wanted to show you. I love how that turned out. Got some of the gold from earlier on there. I really like that. Now this is a great piece I can come back to and add some gold with maybe some spray or even splatter gold on it. But for now, I'm gonna leave it as it is. I love it. And make sure this is nice and dry. So we have all kinds of good stuff going on there. Honestly, I am leaning towards the white. So here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna open these whites, or cut them open because they're pretty much empty. And yeah, do this background with the white. I just think it'll be a really fun print like that. Okay, just do it. I'm second guessing myself right now, which I should not. So, like I say, it's only paper and paint. And here's my, yeah, it's nice and free of any other color. I've learned to really like mixing paint on the gel plate. Nothing there. Let's see.
We're about to be up all night.
There we go. Yeah, this is plenty of paint, not too much. Get all that good stuff out of there. And I think some of this reflexive white I got over here should go in there as well. I'm looking for the cover, and I'm like, dude, you just cut it open. That's going to the recycle bin. for sure. Let's get some of this reflexive white in here. This one does get crusty. You gotta make sure you clean up the little nozzle there before you squeeze any paint out, because it can carry little bits and chunks to your plate that you don't want. It'll get stuck on the brayer. It'll get you won't get a nice clean print. So remember that. And I had a brayer. Here it is. See, this got a little bit of something on there. Let me get that off. Isn't that a cool shading? That's really very cool. All right, let me give this a good stir. It's got all that good stuff on there. And again, I'm gonna use my big paper here, the sketch paper I just used on the last one. Because I want to get everything, especially those edges that have some really good grunge on it from other stuff I was working on. All right, paper. Where did I put you? There you go. I do have on order some small, a smaller pad of this sketch paper. I love the big one. I want to make sure every area is captured. So I'm going to be patient with this one. I'm going to let this one dry completely. I'm going to give this at least an hour, if not more, simply for the fact that there's a lot of layers on here. There's at least 3 layers on the main part, but then you also have all the layers, all that stuff around here. But look how cool that's going to look. I think this is going to be an awesome print. All right, so let's let this dry, and then I'll come back and we'll look at all the prints we made today. All right, so this bad boy has been down for about 3 hours. So let's make sure the edges are nice and cracked, and then see what we got here. All right, can tell already this is good. It's pulling up all that stuff that was stuck completely to those edges. Ooh, looking good. Let's take our time. Make sure this side is not stuck. Sometimes if you get to a point it feels like it's sticking or it may not come up the right way, go at it from the other side. And just take your time. So this side, I'm getting a little more stickage on this side. Let me see if I can coax it without tearing it. Just going to continue from this side. Fantastic. Oh, wow. I adore this print. It's so freaking cool. I'm so glad I decided to go with the white to be the pull color. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you really enjoyed this new design I made, and it's available at pmartiststudio.com starting today, April 1st, and it's called Hookups. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.